by Nolan King and Ken Hathaway, July 5, 2019, 1:45 p.m. Las Vegas. There is always an elevated level of buzz that accompanies a Jon Jones fight week. Regardless of his next opponent, seemingly every time Jones ends up with a microphone in front of him, the same question is asked. Will he fight Daniel Cormier again? The idea of a trilogy bout between the UFC light heavyweight champ Jones and UFC heavyweight champ Cormier seems to raise the excitement to fever pitch. Ahead of Saturday's headlining clash with Thiago Santos, it was no different. At Thursday's UFC 239 pre-fight media day, Jones spoke about a potential trilogy clash, suggesting that UFC execs Dana White, Ari Emanuel and Hunter Campbell probably won't see it happen, too. "I am interested in fighting Daniel Cormier," Jones said. "I just want to do it under the right terms. One thing about the UFC is we always give the fans what they want to see, and if they want to see it bad enough, Hunter, and Ari, and Dana, they'll hear about it enough." The sticking point for Jones when talking about another matchup with Cormier is his contract. If he were to compete in such an eye-drawing bout, Jones feels he'd need to be compensated to scale, especially if would be moving up to heavyweight to meet DC on his terms. "Fighting him at heavyweight, I think we just have to come up with the right negotiation to make it happen," Jones said. "I'm aware that it would be a super fight, so obviously, I couldn't fight under the same contract." Jones, 31, fully recognizes defeating Cormier again would add another feather to his cap of MMA achievements. That said, the youngest champion in UFC history thinks his accomplishments in this sport will stick out regardless of whether or not a third fight happens. "I think it would be great for the legacy for sure, especially when I share an era with Daniel Cormier," Jones said. "I think it would squash his a little bit, even more. But I know I can be respected years from now without going up to heavyweight. To be a 20-time UFC light heavyweight champion, that rings bells. I think it'll be a long time before somebody else can do something like that." Despite his openness to fighting Cormier at heavyweight under the right terms, Jones said he feels there's a lot to be gained from competing in his current division. "I feel like if things aren't broke, then we shouldn't be reaching to fix them," Jones said. "I also understand that oftentimes, grass may not be greener on the other side. Heavyweights hit a lot harder. They get knocked out every other fight. I appreciate having a healthy brain. I have daughters to raise, and I know that I'm more than a fighter, so yeah, I just want to take the right fights. If I'm making the light heavyweight division just fine, through maturity, I'm learning how to eat even cleaner when necessary. It's like, why mess with a good thing?" UFC 239 takes place this Saturday at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The main card streams on pay-per-view following prelims that air on ESPN and early preliminary bouts that stream on UFC Fight Pass and ESPN. To hear more from Jones, check out the video above. For more on UFC 239, check out the UFC schedule. Daniel Cormier, Jon Jones, UFC 239 News, UFC Let's Block Ads.